Hello, 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 hello. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. We will get started in just a moment. Make sure you say hello and introduce yourself as you come into the room. Say hi so that I know who's watching me and who's joining me tonight. Come on in. I love this song so much. It'll be there when you're done, Soleil. It'll be there when you're done. Hi, everybody. It has been a hell of a week, has it not? I am Soleil. I am your weekly reader. I'm the Coven Mother of Vision of Dawn Tour. I am also the founder and facilitator of the Charm School Hoodoo Mentorship, and I am a dope bitch straight up out of Oakland. Hello, hello. Hey, Adelaida. Hey, Empress, my Anobi. So we're here for happy hour. Happy hour is where we talk about pop culture. We shoot the shit. We have cocktails if you have access to cocktails. I'm not drinking today, so I just got sparkling water right here, which tends to be my go-to these days. And if time permits and if people have a desire for it, I do take questions from the audience. It's been a really heavy week. I still am mourning and processing anger from what I learned about Trey Reed. I'm still disgusted by what I experienced as an overcaring about Charlie Kirk. Disgusted to hear about the amount of people that have lost their jobs just because they've been critical of him. The eclipse is kicking my butt. I have not cried this much in a really long time. My stress levels are crazy. and I know that other people probably are feeling very, very similarly to what I am. So hopefully this reading can bring us a little bit of joy as we just shoot the shit and, talk about things. I don't have a new specialty reading today, again, because we're going back to pop culture. So the banner scrolling below is from the specialty reading from last week. If anyone wants a general reading, just let me know. I'm more than happy to do those. And if anybody wanted a eclipse reading last week and didn't get one, more than happy to do that for y'all as well. But I want to talk at least a little bit about the topic that is in the title of this video. Because when I was trying to think of what we can talk about, of the video of Cardi B announcing her pregnancy with Gayle King came across my timeline. And I will never judge a woman for being pregnant and choosing to keep her pregnancy. So I don't want to talk about that because I feel like it's kind of weird to kick somebody's back in because they decided to be pregnant at a time that you think is inconvenient. But what I did start to think about was the fact that Candace Owens and Cardi B, they've had a beef for years now, which I find hilarious because I think they're the same person. I really do. I really feel that way. And some of you guys may hear that. Bertal said I called it she is pregnant. I mean, I have eyes. I have eyes. The reading did say she was pregnant. It did say that she was going to drag her feet in announcing it because she wasn't certain. She wasn't certain about keeping it. She did not say that in the interview, but she did say that she hasn't told her family yet. And typically, when people are pregnant, they don't tell their families because they're uncertain about what they're doing. So I think that my reading was pretty accurate. Anybody want to go back and watch that? Feel free. But tonight, I want to talk about Pick-mes and use Candace Owen and Cardi B as examples of them, especially because they experience one another as being polar opposites of one another. And even as some of you guys hear this, you may be thinking, how the hell are they similar? No, they're very much the same person. Candace is Cardi B in a cardigan. Candace is conservative Cardi B. They are both male-centered, pick-me women who are so invested in misogyny, so invested in being the special girl, so invested in not being like other women that they will literally sabotage themselves in order to be seen as special, right? That's the only reason why Candle, long week, long week. That's the only reason why Candace Owen is out here windmilling for Charlie Clerk. Forgive me, it's going to be a lot of that tonight. The girls who were in my class last night when I taught, y'all already know. Me and language are not, we don't have a congruent relationship right now. Adelaida, absolutely. They both have internalized racism issues too. But of course they haven't. Most pick-mes have internalized racism issues. Most pick-mes don't have a solid identity without having an understanding of themselves in reference to whatever the standard of power is, right? I used to be a big Cardi B fan. I used to think she was absolutely adorable. But then when she started talking about her dating preferences, she reminded me of a self-hating Latina. And it's been hard for me to really respect her since then. I grew up in California, y'all know this. I am no stranger to Latina women, Asian women, non-black women who love dating black men but hate black women. I'm not a stranger to that. They are one of California's biggest exports. Let's be honest. Let's be real. So when she talked about how she just loves dating black men because they treat her special and it's just different, and then every time we turned around, she was calling a black woman a roach or calling them burnt. I was like, oh, okay, I see you. I see what this is. I see exactly what this is. Candace Owens is no different. Candace Owens has a lot of hatred towards black women, deals with severe internalized hatred. And that's why she can call a man who said that black women don't have the mental capacity for leadership her best friend. I cannot imagine a world where I call somebody who said that black women lack mental capacity to handle basic responsibility, right? I can never be best friends with somebody who said something like that, let alone a black woman, right? It's absolutely crazy. Oh my God, Candace is a Taurus. She's a Taurus. That is embarrassing. I'm actually disgusted. I'm actually disappointed. That's very frustrating. It's looking like Cardi will be a third baby mama again, and the child may be an Irish twin. There's something to that. So let's talk about the self-sabotage involved in the situation, okay? Cardi B is in a very blessed position. She's a part of a record company that makes a lot of money. She is in a position where I've been around people who are blessed, whether it was my time in the academy, whether it was my time in other fields. Shit, even in my former organization that I used to collaborate with. When certain people choose you, they refuse to let you fail, right? And Cardi has been chosen within the industry as the golden child in a really particular way. So no matter how much she self-sabotages, no matter how much she says racist things, no matter how much she picks fights and arguments with her own fan base, her record company will go out of their way to Captain Save-A-Hole for her. They're literally dragging her into success, right? And the self-sabotage of going and getting pregnant by a man while you are still married in the public sphere is insane. There are so many layers of self-sabotage involved in that. That's what I said, Empress Anubi. I can't believe she's a Taurus either. The Taurus next to me said, you are on point, LOL. Said she ain't always. But yeah, it's really interesting to witness. But Cardi is a pick-me at the end of the day. You can even hear it in her lyrics. I'm so cute and tiny. He's so big and tall. Might let him dunk this pussy like he dunk a ball. Like, what are you saying, girl? Like she is a certified pick-me, even down to what she has done to her body. These are not choices that I don't have anything against plastic surgery. So please don't take anything that I'm about to say next as symptomatic of that. But the amount of surgery she has had, the choices in her plastic surgery, um, she has turned her body into a plastic sex doll. These are not moves that she's making because she's doing them from a place of confidence and wanting to feel aligned with herself. She's doing it so that she can be accepted under the male gaze. Even in her lyrics, when she talks about sexuality, she's not talking about it from a place of personal power and loving orgasms and loving her body. She's talking about it from a place of prioritizing male pleasure. Cardi is a pick-me. She does not like other women. I think she understands the branding capacity of being understood as a girl's girl, which a lot of female rappers do. They understand if I can be marketed as a girl's girl, if I can create girly spaces, there's some sort of financial benefit to that for me. But Cardi B don't like other women. Cardi B does not like other women. She's very, very fucking hateful. She's very hateful. That's why she handled the beef between her and Nicki Minaj the way she did. That's why she is constantly having these fights with other women. How many times is she going to go to court for physical violence towards another woman? Cardi does not like other women. And most pick-mes don't like other women because they don't like themselves. All they care about is attention from men and being in alignment with men. And that, again, that's why I say that Candace Owens is conservative Cardi B. It's no surprise to me that they hate each other. It's no surprise to me that they have this back and forth feud. Because most people, once they see their mirror, they end up hating their mirror if they don't like themselves. Candace Owens never works with other women. All of her talking points and the things that she stands for and advocates on behalf of are very, very much about being able to align herself with patriarchy, right? Even her anti-feminism stance. You are anti-feminist, but if it weren't for feminism, you wouldn't be able to generate an income. You wouldn't have a bank account. You wouldn't be able to make a career by sitting on YouTube and talking shit. The whole reason why you are able to even have a career as a conservative talking head is because of feminism. But of course, a pick-me doesn't understand it that way. They'll never be able to give women credit for anything, because if it doesn't come from the mouth of a man, if it doesn't come from the validation of a man, they don't care about that. She worships capitalism. She's so brainwashed. Absolutely. And another thing, they don't have real friends. I always found it really sad when Cardi B would get on the internet and call her followers her friends. That's really, really sad. And most pick-mes don't have real friends. And do you know why they don't have real friends? Because a pick-me is going to throw other women under the bus. And you cannot maintain friendships, let alone feminine friendships, if people can't trust you. If the second that the wind blows or the second that you get an opportunity to get cookies in one moment, you're going to throw people under the bus. There is no way. Where is my lighter? Okay, there it is. There is no way to maintain friendships in that context. So, yeah, Cardi B is a pick-me. Candace Owens is a pick-me. Who are some other celebrities that you guys think are pick-mes? I have one that I wanted to talk about tonight, and I'm going to talk about her. The only reason why I didn't put her name in the title, I'm gonna be real, is because it didn't rhyme. It didn't rhyme with Candace or Cardi. There was no alliteration there. We gotta have a conversation about Jada Pinkett Smith as a pick-me. And I know a lot of you guys aren't gonna want to hear that. I know that she is like understood as like this badass who is self-involved and, really confident and But that clip that started circulating within the last week, where she was giving background and context about her affair with August Alsina, it made me realize that Jada is a covert pick-me. Jada Pinkett Smith is a covert pick-me. And do you know what a covert pick-me is? It's a woman who suffers from pick-me tendencies, but they know that they benefit from feminism, unlike regular pick-mes, right? And so they're much more strategic and they're much more stealth in their actions. Jada is a pick-me. For her to say that Will had been cheating on her for years and that she wanted out of the marriage, but she accepted his terms because she didn't want to deal with the public backlash, that's some pick-me bullshit. Only pick-mes value marriage to the degree that they will stay in a marriage that they hate for public perception. And do you know why they stay in marriages that they hate for public perception? Because it's that mentality of, well, at least I got a man. At least I'm married, right? I have to tell y'all, moving to the South has been a mind fuck for me. Because up until moving here, I'd only read about, and women who have the at least I'm married mentality, they were a myth. And I'm not saying that women don't think that way in California, but they at least have enough dignity to be ashamed about it, and they don't flex it. You have to be a self-hating person to stay in a marriage where you hate your partner and you are embittered just to be able to flex on other people and say, well, at least I'm married. That is a pick-me. And Jada is very much a pick-me. You letting this man run around and cheat on you, but you get to say you married to Will Smith, so it's okay? That's some pick-me shit. That's at least I'm married, girl. That's exactly what that is. Jada needs her ass kicked. Sorry, but not sorry. Bertal, why do you feel that way? Why do you say that Jada needs her ass kicked? I'm really interested. Let someone say they was close to Tupac. She jumping out of shadows on that. But even that is some pick me bullshit, right? The I need to be attached to a legend dynamic, even if the legend is not alive anymore and he can't speak for himself. Jada has deep pick me tendencies. Cardi definitely seems like a Libra. Remember on Love and Hip Hop when she was dating that guy in prison? I just knew she was going to fall victim the same way she did. I agree with Bertal. She should have kept that bottom away, because what I noticed as a doula is they mess their organs up. Also, she kept getting pregnant and the surgeries. Yeah, see, that's one of the things. These BBLs and these ass shots, they have not been well researched. And we are learning more and more every day how much they ruin the body and how they make pregnancy difficult, how they make sex difficult, right? This is why I stay off TikTok, because I fall into the worst wormholes on TikTok. Even men who have sex with women will tell you that even though BBLs look great, they don't feel good. It's the same thing with breast implants. Breast implants can look amazing, but they don't feel good. They feel like Nerf balls, right? And those are the good ones. Some of them are really hard, like rock hard, right? But that's another thing in terms of being a pick-me, being so disconnected from your body that all you care about is what looks good enough to get the attention of a man, even if it's not sexually pleasing to you, and 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be sexually pleasing to them. Do y'all remember when Meek Mill or when Remy Ma, I still listen to the song Sheether sometimes, A, because I'm messy, but B, because it's good. But remember when Remy Ma said that Meek Mill told her that he wasn't able to have sex with Nicki Minaj because she kept getting her surgeries and then she would have to be out of commission for a long time? Even after people heal from the surgery sometimes, they can't have sex right. The BBLs do things to their body that make it disproportionate. And I don't mean to be vulgar, but they really can't take dick correctly. Some of the same sex positions they used to enjoy, they can't even do them anymore because they have these stiff things in their body that make it hard for them to be flexible in the same way, right? All that shit may look good, but it's not convenient. Let's see. Who else? Somebody said a name of someone that they thought was a pick-me. Hold on. KFS, I'm reminded of Kenya Moore and how no one in her life told her bringing revenge porn to work is a terrible girl. But that's another thing. Pick-mes have no boundaries when it comes to other women. Y'all know that a part of the reason why I'm no longer associated with my former spiritual organization is because one of the pick-me bitches there threw hex work at me. Pick-me bitches have no boundaries. They have no boundaries. They have no regard for other women. All they see other women is as competition, and all they see other women is as more obstacles in the way of them being able to get attention from a man. They're the most dangerous people on the planet. They will literally cut you down for affirmation from a nigga. They are dangerous. If I'm getting to know somebody and that pick-me spirit starts to reveal itself, that is an associate, that is a community member. I put them on a long leash, but the likelihood that they become my friend, Pick-mes are some of the most dangerous people on the planet. I read an article that Offset said Cardi had bad hygiene and would come in sweaty and want him to perform oral. OMG. How many of you guys have heard of the BBL smell? How many of you guys have heard of the BBL smell? So BBLs are a really complicated and dangerous surgery. Not only do you can die from them, right? Remember the young lady, what's her name? I forget her name. The former wife of DC Young Fly, who passed away getting a mommy makeover. You can literally die from them. But in addition to them, because of the nature of the surgery, people deal with necrosis. Necrosis is when the muscle in your body literally dies. The muscle in your body literally dies. And I don't know if you know this, but when flesh rots, it stinks. And so there is a thing called BBL smell. When you get a BBL and parts of your flesh rot and die, and you walk around literally smelling like rot. So I don't know the article. If you find the article and you don't mind putting it in the comments, that would be appreciated so that way I can look it over later. But I wouldn't be surprised if she did have bad hygiene. I don't know about the sweaty part, but this woman has had multiple butt shots and BBL surgeries. I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised if she has dead flesh rotting in her backside, allegedly. I know nothing. This is all entertainment. I know nothing, allegedly. Right? Because it's not uncommon. It happens. BBL smell is a thing. I remember when that conversation around BBL smell first started and people were trying to like theorize where it came from. And then they were like, oh yeah, when you go from having a small butt to having a big butt, you don't know how to clean it properly. First of all, that's exalting. As somebody who's had a fat ass their whole life, I know how to clean my behind. Having a big butt has nothing to do with hygiene. If you know how to clean your body, you know how to clean your ass. But that's not it. It's literally rotting flesh, and rotting flesh stinks. And then also sometimes those wounds don't heal correctly. So think about it. You have rotting flesh, you have probably sepsis or other things. And yeah, it's going to create a smell. So I would not be surprised if she allegedly, I know nothing, have never met this woman, have never laid down with this woman. This is all entertainment. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Better off getting a fat transfer. It's safer and it looks natural. Absolutely. A few years ago, my mother's friend's sister had a surgery and died. The doctor sent her back and paid oh wow. Oh wow. People literally die for these surgeries. which is crazy because you can just love yourself. I know a lot of women with little booties that are married and happy and getting their backs blown out and have husbands or boyfriend to pay their bills. Like, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep. And this is why you have to love yourself and find yourself beautiful, regardless of whatever aesthetic is a trend or popular, because trends fade, right? What's the main thing that all these celebrities that went out and got these big butts are doing now? They're taking the Ozempic. They're getting smaller, right? Because big booties are out of style, quote unquote. Love yourself regardless and find somebody who's going to love whatever you got. Again, I know a lot of women who ain't got no ass that are married. Know a lot of women that got a lot of ass and are married. I know a lot of girls that are stick thin that are married. I know girls that are big as hell that are married. Like, it's not, when you love you deeply enough, you find somebody who loves on you. I am not skinny by any means. I've never had a flat stomach in my whole life. My titties used to be perky one day, but they definitely are not anymore. And guess what? My nigga will scoop them up in a second. And he don't have none of that. When you love you, you can find somebody that loves you. It's really not that deep. But again, if you are a pick-me, if you are someone who thrives on male validation, you only care about what the men around you are saying about beauty. And that's why Candace Owens is walking around with crispy edges, because she's surrounded by white men who have really weird concepts of what a beautiful black woman is. Have you guys ever heard of the phrase hard wig, soft life? There's a theory online, and I believe it, that black women who perpetually date white men have fucked up hair. And the reason why they have fucked up hair is because how the hell is a white person going to help you have good hair? They don't know what good black hair looks like. They're not going to be able to tell you, to recommend a good shop for you to go to, right? So the phrase that has come out of that belief is hard wig, soft life. Candace Owens has the hair of a woman who only has white friends. Her hair is fucked up. It's dry as hell. And it's gotten more moisturized over the years. But when she first came out, when she was like running around with Kanye and shit, oh my God, the way that I just wanted to hold her down and rub a little bit of black castor oil into her fucking edges. It was a lot. It was absolutely a lot. Let's see. So we talked about Jada. We talked about Kenya Moore. Who are some other pick-mes? Put some comments down. That's the link for Cardi and Offset, because her response was, I don't see the link though. Can you post it one more time? Because I don't see the link. It's not showing up. When I was a kid, I was ashamed of mine. You wouldn't have been able to tell me that women would pay for ass shots. So that was the crazy thing. I went through that phase too. I grew, y'all know my age. I'm in my early 40s. It is what it is. In the 90s, being a girl with a big butt, especially like a really big butt, you were either made fun of, because even if the rest of your body was small, you were just automatically fat. Like, I grew up in the era where literally if you were not a size 2 or a size 4, you were fat, and people made fun of you for it, or you were understood as a hoe. And so I remember people used to make fun of me because I would walk around. I had this royal blue wool wear sweater that was like 4 sizes too big for me. And I would wear it all year long. I would walk around in the summertime with that sweatshirt on, because I didn't want anybody to see my hips and my butt. I just didn't want to deal with the comments. I went to an evangelical school, and the other kids would make fun of how big my butt was. And I didn't want to deal with it. And I was surrounded by little girls of other races that were all size 2s and 4s, and would call, if they were around somebody that was a size 6, they would call them fat. So I'm sitting there size 10 with grown lady hips and just wanting to hide, right? But yeah, it wasn't until the early to mid 2000s that having a big butt became popular. So I was just taken aback when I started seeing women literally damn near kill themselves to go out and buy the body that I had and that I was made to feel ashamed of. Cam Newton's baby mama. We talked about her before, but let's talk about her because she is living her ultimate pick-me nightmare right now. That poor girl, ultimate pick-me nightmare. Absolutely. She did all that shit talking about girls not choosing themselves, only to get in a relationship with an illiterate nigga who dressed like a minstrel show character, who's cheating on her left and right. Absolutely insane. Empress, I don't know if it's just my comments or whatever, but it's not showing up. It's not showing up. I have no idea why. But yeah, her name is Jazzy. The comedian Jazzy, she's absolutely getting her back kicked in. Because that's the crazy thing. Like, I think pick-mes have the belief that if they show up as the special girl and they placate male investment and validation, that will bring them some sort of protection. But it actually causes the opposite. They end up getting their back kicked in. How many of y'all watched or listened to the Joe Budden podcast? Because we got to talk about Melissa Ford. Melissa Ford is a pick-me too, and that breaks my heart. Melissa Ford was the first time I realized I like women. I used to have the biggest crush on her in the 2000s. I used to think she was so unbelievably gorgeous. Melissa Ford. Who's texting me? Somebody just sent me an audio message. I'm not going to listen to it right now because I don't want to disrespect nobody's privacy, but I just want to know who it is. But yeah, Melissa Ford. I didn't know she was a pick-me until she got on Joe Budden podcast. Her and that insistence on don't have no other female co-hosts. I want to be the only woman here. And then when they start kicking her back in all the time and making fun of her and breaking her boundaries and making fun of her sex life and oversharing and all these other things, she's so hurt and overwhelmed by it. But it's like, baby, what did you think was going to happen? You did all this fighting and clawing to be the only girl in the room. And now that you're being treated like the only girl in the room, you can't handle it. She has no voice on that show. Yeah, but that's her fault. That's her fault. Because here's the thing, it's easier to have a voice when you are in community with other women. Because what do women who value other women do? They back each other up, right? It would be to Melissa's benefit to have another female co-host there so that when all of them start jumping down her back, she has a sister in the room to be like, hey, no, I actually agree. You're not listening. When you put yourself in danger when you are a pick-me. Choosing to be a pick-me means that you constantly put yourself in danger in the interest of male validation. And pick-mes end up being perpetually heartbroken because the second that they end up in that position where men betray them, where men remind them that they are still women at the end of the day, it ends up breaking their heart. But it's like, that's what happens, baby. That's why you need to have solidarity with other women. Instead of trying to kick other women's back in, and instead of being at this weird, fucked up, there's only one seat at the table mentality, have camaraderie with other women so that you're not alone. And you're not sitting here punching in the dark in a room full of people who don't see it for you. Hey, Sylvia, glad to have you join us. Did you hear what Cameron said about her? No, what did Cameron say about her? I didn't hear that. Melissa Ford would have gotten farther as a girl's girl. She's smart, but the men that bring her around don't care about her. And here's the thing. From what I understand, she's always been that way, which again is heartbreaking. Whether it's her fighting with Corinne or talking shit about Corinne Steffens, like they don't have the exact same background and career. Whether it's her betraying every podcast woman who's tried to do a podcast with her because she screwed over Blue Taluzma because she didn't think that Blue Taluzma had the look that was appropriate or matched her. And then when she was supposed to do the podcast with the other woman about perimenopause or whatever, she betrayed her. She can allegedly, I know nothing. I've never met these people. This is all entertainment. I know nothing. Whatever. I know nothing. I'm not even real. I'm AI, right? But allegedly, she has routinely screwed over other women in the industry because she has to be the only one. That's the thing about Pick-mes. They love being tokens at the end of the day. They love being tokens. And what happens to tokens? Tokens get spent, right? So I hate to see what's happening to her, but Stevie Wonder could have seen this. This is not surprising. When you pride yourself being the only girl in a room full of misogynists, what do you think is going to happen to you? What do you think is going to happen to you? And it's the same thing with the Cardi B's, the Kenya Moores, the Jada Pinkett's, the Jazzy Browns, the Candace Owenses. They all get off on being special. They all get off on being the only girl in the room. And their solidarity to sisterhood only goes as far as being able to benefit from the dollars of women. So they will talk shit about being a girl's girl, right? They will talk ish about being for women and about being for feminism. But all they can, and here's the thing. I had to learn this the hard way last year as well. A lot of people will claim to love women, or particularly Black women, but what they really love is the abundance that women bring to the table. Women multiply, right? In every single field, women spend the most money, right? So much of hip hop and so much of the music industry is tailored towards the male gaze. But women spend the most money on albums. We spend the most money on podcast live shows. We spend the most money on concert tickets. We spend the most money on merch. So people will give lip service to being about women or feminism or being for women just because they want to be able to gain the benefit of that association. But they don't really care about women like that. And most Pick-mes hate other women. Adelaida, I see that you sent a love offering. Adelaida, do you want any Clips bridge reading? I'm going to go ahead and I'm happy to do that for you. And then we can wrap up with the conversation about Pick-mes. But for now, I'm going to do Adelaida's bridge reading. And then if anyone else wants a bridge reading, the information is scrolling below. We have the solar eclipse in Virgo that's happening on Sunday. This is the same reading I did for people last week when I did the happy hour that was focused on the eclipse. I'm not going to regurgitate all that information again. Definitely make sure you rewatch that reading if you didn't get the chance to see it. But I'm happy to, since the eclipse is coming up on Sunday, I'm more than happy to do readings for people. So Adelaida, I got you. I'm going to go ahead and pause to do your bridge reading. If anyone else wants an eclipse bridge reading, or if you just want a general reading, let me know. Feel free to send a love offering and I can make you next, okay? Ancestors, angels, masters, spirits, walk with me. My elevated ancestors, what wisdom does Adelaida need about the eclipse? What was moved for her during the lunar eclipse in Pisces? What does she need to know about the energy between now and the next eclipse that will hold her over? What insight and wisdom can you give her about what she will experience during and post the solar eclipse in Virgo? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. You know who else is a pick me, and it breaks my heart because I love their music so much. Lotto. Lotto is a pick me. Allegedly, this is all entertainment. I have no proof. But people say that she's in a relationship with 21 Savage, who is married. Being in a committed relationship with a married nigga is a total pick me move. I could never. And her music is so good and she's so pretty to me. But that is disappointing. I love this for you. Absolutely love this. So, for you, Adelaida, a lot of what came up during the lunar eclipse in Pisces, September 7th, was about you and your relationship to self-care and taking really, really good care of yourself, right? And understanding that the better that you treat you, the more that that leads to abundance in your life. So you had a whole lot of downloads and realizations around that, right? There's something about the alchemy of understanding that treating yourself good, even when circumstances are tough, will lead to favor, prosperity, and gratitude later. And that is something that the Queen of Pentacles understands very deeply and intimately. And that's why she has so much favor and luck when it comes to money and prosperity, right? I always say that because she dresses well and treats herself well and keeps herself in a beautiful environment, right? She nurtures her fertility. She nurtures her creativity. Because she does that, not only does that keep a frequency of abundance around her, but it makes other people around her really want to pour into her. And that's how she ends up having so much favor and abundance in terms of opportunity. I got you next, Tiffany, if you'd like a reading as well. But I think that you started to realize this around in the days after the lunar eclipse in Pisces. So a lot of your time since then has been about how to actualize the alchemy that is associated with the Queen of Pentacles. And I know we don't often use the word alchemy with her, but understanding how you need to shift the energy around you is alchemical work, right? What your spirits would really love for you to focus on between now and the eclipse on Sunday, if you haven't already, is understanding that in order for you to be successful as an initiator and to be someone who goes after the things you want, you have to do it from a place of joy, right? Aries energy of the Knight of Wands. We give Aries a lot of shit for being impulsive, and sometimes they are. They definitely are, right? And the Aries is the sign that rules the Knight of Wands. But in order to initiate and to see progress and to make progress towards the things you want, you have to go after them with joy and fervor, right? Another thing about the Knight of Wands is that they're very much a act now, think about it later. They don't ruminate. Aries does not ruminate. They don't dwell on things. And so this is your spirit saying that they would really love to see you live a little bit more in the moment, that they would love to see you prioritize joy a little bit more. And that, yes, they want you to be in action and go after the things you want, but lead with pleasure. If it's not bringing you joy, if you can't make movement from a place of happiness, if the movements that you are making are from a place of stress and burden, they would like to see you reevaluate so that way you can actually finish the things you go after because you have joy, passion, and fervor attached to it. The Virgo solar eclipse coming on Sunday is going to bring you a lot of inner confidence. And that inner confidence is going to bring you a ton of direction. The King of Wands is the king of confidence, but he's also the king of self-belief. He's the king of worthiness, right? He's always enrolling other people into his vision, not from a manipulative place, but from a place of self-belief. from a place of, yeah, I have this big idea, I have this big vision, I want to see it happen. Don't you want to help me get it done, right? And so he has followers, he has supporters, he has people around him that are just as invested in his vision as he is. But you have to be a deeply confident person to be in a space where you are literally always talking about what you're working on and always talking about what you're passionate about. And so in order for you to make progress, that's the energy that you're really going to have to embody, Adelaida. And your breakthrough, a lot of your downloads, a lot of what spirit is going to give you wisdom about after, during, as well as in the days after this solar eclipse in Virgo, is about how to bring precision and discipline and focus, all the things associated with Virgo, to your journey with being confident and letting that confidence bring you to a space of execution, right? I love this for you. I'm excited about this for you. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Definitely stay in contact with me. Let me know how that shows up for you. Okay. Tiffany, I don't know. I feel like I did an eclipse reading for you last time. So I'm gonna let you take the I'm gonna let you have the option of me doing another question for you, if you would like. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in the comments. You're very welcome, Adelaida. Put in the comments, Tiffany, whether you want me to do another eclipse reading for you or if you have a specific question that you want me to answer. Okay? And while you're doing that, I'm gonna talk shit about pick-mes a little bit more. How many of you have been betrayed by a pick-me? How many of you have been betrayed by a pick-me? Most narcissistic women are pick-mes. They really are. And the ways in which I've been betrayed by narcissistic women, and how it's showing up in their pick. Okay, so narcs will do this thing called mirroring, right? And the way that it happens is they'll start to pick up your speech, they'll start to pick up your mannerisms. They may even retell the stories that you've told about your life as though it has happened to them, right? And they'll say it to other people as though it was their lived experience. But again, they're narcissists. So they don't want you to have confidence about your own experiences. So they'll nag you with your own experiences. They'll tell you that you're stupid or that your vision is wrong or that something was crazy with you for being in that situation. But then they will turn around and retell your story as though it happened to them, right? Those of you, and I need to do a podcast episode. I haven't done one in a year, which is ridiculous. But those of you who've listened to episodes of my podcast before, you guys have heard me talk about single black female, right? That was the narc that was obsessed with me that used to mirror me a lot. But single black female would do that all the time. I would tell stories to her and my other roommates or our mutual friends we were sitting around with, and then she would talk shit about me and make it seem like I was just off the wall. But then when we would get in front of other people who weren't there to tell the story, who I didn't tell the story to, she would retell it as though it happened to her. She made fun of the way that I dressed, because you guys know I'm always in dresses. I think I own maybe 2 pairs of pants, and they're like for workouts, right? But I only wear dresses. And she used to make shit. She used to make fun of me for that and talk shit about the way that I dressed. And then when she got up and started her dating profile and started going on dates, she would literally go and buy outfits that looked identical to mine. And at first I was unsure about it, but one day she even said, like, oh yeah, I saw this dress and it looked like the little skater dresses you wear, so I picked it up. At the time, I wore a lot of like character purses, like telephones and all kind of weird kooky shit. A lot of Betsy Johnson things. She would do the same thing to me, right? But yeah, pick-me women, narcissistic pick-me women will mirror you. They will tell you that you're crazy, that you're wrong, that you're immature, that all this other shit. I loved comic books my whole life. I have a comic book obsession. I would bring my comic books out, and then she would say that I was childish for liking comic books. But then when she saw how other people reacted to me and my love of comic books, Suddenly she became a scholar on Wonder Woman. My Hello Kitty tattoo, my love of Hello Kitty. Suddenly she just loved Sanrio. But yeah, Pick-mes, because they're competitive. They're competitive and they want to dominate you. But they also, if they see you getting attention for something, they want to be able to take attention for that. So she would literally start mirroring my speech, right? Um, I would talk about people who would collect folks like Pokemon cards. And then she started saying that over and over again, right? Um, I would talk about the necessity of dreaming in order to be able to be successful. And at first she said that it was delusional. And then she turned around and started saying that to other people. They will mirror your speech. They will copy you. Tiffany said that they did not get the eclipse reading. Okay, I'll do your eclipse reading. Ancestors, angels, sin, masters, spirits to walk with me. Elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Tiffany need about the eclipse? What was moved for her during the lunar eclipse? What do her spirits want her to focus on between now and the solar eclipse? What revelations will the solar eclipse in Virgo have for her? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Ace of Wands in reverse fell out. We'll see how that relates to the spread once I pull it for you. If there is anyone else that would like an eclipse reading, you can send 1111 either to my Cash App or my PayPal. The information for both is scrolling below. This eclipse season has definitely brought up a lot for people in terms of shadows, in terms of unprocessed things that they are navigating and working through. So even if you don't get an eclipse reading tonight, definitely take advantage of my shadow work consultations, which are on sale until the end of the month. You may not feel like you need a reading now, that's fine. But if the energy of the eclipse is heavy for you and you feel triggered in any way, make sure you circle back and take advantage of those shadow work consultations. They will be on sale until October 1st, okay? So for you, the Knight of Pentacles represents the energy of what was revealed for you during the lunar eclipse in Pisces. There was a lot of reflection, a lot of looking at certain things in your life. And it wasn't necessarily comfortable. You don't like to be still because you are a fire sign. So being forced into this earth sign energy of the Knight of Pentacles, where you're looking at the choices in your life, you're looking at certain decisions you've made. I love Sanrio and cute nerdy things too. Hold on, I don't know if you can see it, but do you see? I don't know how to hold my arm. There we go. Do you see you see her? I have Hello Kitty with an afro on my arm. That's my favorite tattoo. And then my next tattoo is going to be Hello Kitty dressed as Prince. I love Sanrio. And I do want to get a My Melody tattoo at some point. I just don't know what style I want. Back to Tiffany. Tiffany's reading. So this has been a deep time of reflection, especially around your finances and the things that your resources, your material comforts, right? This is it's brought up a lot for you about how you want to plan for your future. Because that is the energy of Knight of Pentacles. It's taking inventory and evaluating your situation. That is too cute. Okay, I'm sorry. We're gonna have to have a Black girl Sanrio conversation at some point, Sylvia. I love Black women who love Sanrio. I think we are so precious and smart and creative and inventive. And I've literally never met a Black girl who loved Hello Kitty that didn't have amazing intuition. But okay. But yeah, you're reevaluating where you want to be in the future. And the stillness of the energy has given you the energy to do that, or the opportunity to do that. The warning about Knight of Pentacles, though, and I don't know if you've experienced this, be careful not to beat up on yourself. Because Knight of Pentacles can be a little bit mean and harsh in their evaluation. So if you found yourself being overcritically with yourself about where you are financially and where you want to be in the future, try to ease up on that, because that's not really helpful or productive, okay? Five of Swords is the energy. And so again, this actually transitions nicely. You have made some mistakes as it relates to decisions or perspectives, ways in which you have seen things or things that you have not seen, right? And it's really important that instead of wallowing and ruminating in this time leading up to the solar eclipse in Virgo, that you use this time to strategize, right? Because Five of Swords, it represents like, yeah, you've had some losses, but there is opportunity for you to pivot. Hey, Chantel, good to see you. There's opportunity for you to pivot, most definitely, right? So rather than continuing the way you've gone and allowing yourself to continue to feel victimized by life, use this as an opportunity to reevaluate so that you can re-strategize and you can come out as the victor. That's really what your spirits want you to focus on right now, Tiffany. So a lot has come up about evaluation, right? The Virgo solar eclipse is going to gift you with perspective around how to move forward, right? And so even though you're going to have this perspective, is not going to be completely clear, but even with that lack of clarity, you're going to have to move forward, right? Some of the details about your future are going to be uncertain, but what you will be certain about is that your spirit team is really strong behind you. They are guiding you. You're not going at it alone. And anything that you've had to leave behind in your past, you need to mourn it, because everything that's ahead of you in the future is better than what you're leaving behind, right? So, not going to lie to you, this is a solemn energy. It's an overwhelming energy. And even though there is some sort of relief coming for you with the Virgo solar eclipse, it still feels a little heavy, because I can tell that what you're craving right now is certainty. And your spirits are saying to you, that's not how it works. We move forward even with the lack of certainty. And that's what you have to get comfortable with, right? So again, this may not be what you wanted to hear, but I think it's perfect energy for you. And I'm looking forward to it. The reason why the Ace of Wands is in reverse is because now's not a time to be moving. Now's not a time for deliberate or decisive action. And some of the ideas that you may have had that may have once felt clear, they may feel cloudy right now, but even that's on purpose, because this is a time of reflection for you. It's not a time for you to take on new things. Your movement is going to have to start and happen after the solar eclipse. And your spirits want you to be okay with that instead of trying to force it. Okay? Hey, Aja, good to see you. Alrighty. Now, Tamika, I will do your eclipse reading as well. If anyone else would like an eclipse reading, you can send 1111 via Cash App or PayPal. My information for both is scrolling below. I'm more than happy to do a couple more before we tap out tonight. If you're coming in now, we've already had our little gossip sesh about the spirit of Pick-mes and how they constantly engage in self-sabotage. In their betrayal of other women, they end up betraying themselves in really, really concrete ways. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that before we wrap up, but I also want to do some eclipse readings for people before we wrap up tonight. So if you know you'd like one, go ahead and send your love offering, and then I will get to you after I've done Tamika's reading, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Tamika need about the eclipse? What information does the eclipse have for her? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. And if you have a question that's not related to the eclipse, I'm more than happy to answer that for you as well. Y'all, I think I'm about to say something and it's going to piss me off that I'm saying it because somebody recently said that to me when I said something they didn't want to hear. But I think my head wrap is too tight. I got a little bit of a headache. Hold on a second. There we go. If you have time, would you be willing to do? What would I be willing? I don't think you finished the sentence, Sanidra. Let me know what you're asking. You've been thinking about love, whether you want to admit it or not. Two things from this card. Knight of Cups at its heart is a card of romance. So a lot of times it represents like either a longing for romance, a longing to be romanced, but sometimes it's not romance in the traditional sense. It's romance in terms of creativity, right? So a lot of what came up for you, yeah, go ahead and send your love offering and type your question below, and then I'll get to you, Sanidra, after I'm done with Tamika. This may be more on the creativity side with you now that I'm thinking about it in light of certain conversations we've had. I think you've had a spark of creative inspiration, and that is literally tied to the Pisces lunar eclipse, which makes sense because Pisces is the sign of the dreamer, and dreamers tend to be naturally creative, right? So the Knight of Cups is coming up saying that whatever intuitive insights around how you want to be creative, your imagination, any kind of magical, spiritual, art-based projects that have come up for you since then, really lead and move forward with them, right? All the nights are about action. So whatever creative thoughts you've had, your spirits would really love to see you take action on them instead of just being like, oh, that was a great thought and not moving forward on it, right? Move forward in pursuit romantically towards your creative passions. But also, like, if you have been thinking about romance, don't dismiss that either, because that's pointing to a need that's there, okay? I love this for you, my little magician, my little alchemist. You and Aja both, y'all are very gifted in this way. Your spirits in the time leading up to this Virgo solar eclipse, they would love to see you continue to lean into the lessons that you are learning about how to be a magician. Now's the time for you to play with your tools, play with your herbs, really, really explore. I always say, because it's one of my favorite aspects of the magician, but it's the least talked about, the magician is a student, right? People see the parlor trick, they see the potion, they see the thing that the magician has created, but the magician is spending a lot of time in the lab, right? They're spending a lot of time in private, really teaching themselves and stretching out lessons. And so the education that you're giving yourself right now, the ways in which you're experimenting and you're playing with things, take joy in it, take pride in it, but also let it make you confident, because that's another thing about the magician. There's somebody who's learning how to stand in the confidence and the belief of their tools. So from now until the solar eclipse, really take pride in the ways in which you are exploring as a magician and stretching as a student. You also you're the second person to, and you see me shuffle, so you know I'm not doing weird shit with the cards. You're the second person to get this card in the position of what's coming up for you with the Virgo solar eclipse. So during the Virgo solar eclipse and in the days, probably in the weeks after, you're going to be thinking about what needs to change within your actions and within your perspective, so that you don't find yourself being victimized in the same way repetitively. There is a particular, and I already know what it is, I'm just not going to say it on camera. There is a particular area of life where you feel like every time you give chances, you experience the same shit, right? And so you find yourself being victimized in the same way. With this Five of Swords coming up, talking about reevaluating your war strategy, you're going to get downloads that are going to make it really, really clear how you need to move differently moving forward. So in this particular situation, this particular person or people do not routinely steal your peace, and they don't walk away with your swords, right? You're going to get concrete downloads that give you clear marching orders around how to move forward in this situation, so you don't continue to get victimized in the same way. Okay? Love, love, love that for you. Okay. Sanidra, I was pulled to help in a fifth because teacher quit. Another teacher in the fifth will resign in October. Should I stay in that class so the students have stability, or go back to interventions when they find someone? I got you, Sanidra. And if there's anyone else that would like a question, I can either do an eclipse reading for you, or I can answer a specific question just as I'm doing right now with Sanidra. So go ahead, if you would like a question, send your love offering via Cash App or PayPal. Ancestors, angels, and master spirits to walk with me. Should Sanidra stay in her current classroom, or should she plan to return back to what she was already doing? Should she transition into being full-time with the fifth graders in order to give them stability, or should she plan to go back to what she was doing initially? What would be the pros of staying? What would be the cons? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Hey, Superzar, good to see you. I'm going to read bottom of the deck the Spirit is telling me to. I'm going to say this. Whichever one... Okay. Give me the language, Spirit. Help me to say this. Help me to articulate this in the best way. Whichever one is going to give you pleasure, do it. You have a tendency to be self-sacrificial. And what your spirits would love to see you lay to rest is that tendency to be self-sacrificial. Okay? And here's the thing, even when we need to lay something to rest, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy to do it, right? Most separations, most things we need to release are painful to release, right? And so in order for you to do the thing that's going to bring you the most pleasure in the long run, it's going to be uncomfortable. And the reason why you tend to be a people pleaser, the reason why you tend to do things that go against your better nature is because you tend to want to go along to get along, right? But there's pain involved in going along to get along. So Spirit is saying, whatever is going to motivate you to show up differently, do that, because either one has its deficits and its pain, right? If what you want is to not go back to interventions and stay with the class, it's going to be difficult for you to have that boundary, but you should do it anyway. If what you want is to go back to interventions, you are probably going to disappoint the students because they've already gotten attached to you. But if that's what you want, you should do it anyway. So the Ten of Swords is coming up to say either choice has its own pain, and its own difficulty. But the thing you need to do is move different and go into a chapter of doing things differently. So make sure you do that, right? We have 4 of Pentacles in reverse. You're going to be fine financially. So 4 of Pentacles when in reverse is actually positive, because it means that you are not making a poverty-based decision. You're not making a decision from a place of, fear and desperation around the money, because your money's going to be okay either way, right? So that's important to know. We also have Temperance in reverse. Temperance in reverse is saying this: you don't need to dwell over this. You don't need to mull over it. You actually intuitively know what you want to do, right? When Temperance is upright, it's about sitting in stillness and meditation and trying to merge things together, okay? But you don't need to do that right now. In fact, the more that you mull over it, and the more you sit in meditation, and the more that you think about it too much, the more you are likely to do the thing that betrays you. If you don't want to be there, don't be there, baby. Because here's the thing. You are one person. You are not the institution. The institution is responsible for giving them stability, not you. Okay? So if what you want is to go back to your initial position, go back to your initial position. I don't mean to be heartless, and I hope it doesn't sound this way, but children are actually a lot more resilient than we give them credit for. So if you don't want to stay there, baby, don't stay there. Again, I want to go back to this 10 of Swords. If you don't want to be there and you force yourself to be there, it's going to feel like knives in your back. If you want to leave and you want to go back to what you were doing, that's going to have its difficulty attached to it, yes, but that's a chapter that needs to close for you. You have to stop being self-sacrificial, okay? I hope that was helpful for you. I hope that answered your question. I got you, Prestigia. If there's anyone else, I can probably do one more reading after Kunsi Aja. So if anyone else has a question, go ahead and send over your love offering. You can either get an eclipse reading or you can get a specific question answered, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, and elevated ancestors. What wisdom do Aja's spirits want her to have about the eclipse? What was moved for her during the lunar eclipse in Pisces? What do her spirits want her to, a lot is falling out. What do her spirits want her to focus on between now and the solar eclipse Sunday? What downloads, revelations, breakthroughs will she have as a result of the solar eclipse in Virgo? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. All right, Chantel, I got you. Knight of Swords fell out as I shuffled. I'm going to wait until I pull your spread, and I'm going to finish up with that to see how it informs the rest of it, okay? I missed using this deck. I only I only broke it out earlier when I was doing a reading for a friend online. And I really miss this reading. I miss this deck a lot. I forget how cute the artwork is. Okay, I'm not gonna cry. I feel like the last time I read for you, I ended up crying. It's you. You be doing this to me, Aja. I'm not gonna cry. Chariot. Pisces lunar eclipse really brought a sense of ambition within you, okay? And it's ambition that is rooted in a confidence of self. So you don't feel a need to wait for conditions to be perfect. You don't feel a need to wait for external validation. And you are so connected to your passions as a result of the Pisces solar eclipse that even when you feel like life is pulling you in opposite directions, you're going to keep going after what you want. You are clear. You have clarity about what it is you want for yourself, and you are going after it full force. This is a beautiful energy. And also, between now and the Virgo solar eclipse, your spirits really want you to nurture yourself. Use this as an opportunity to nurture your creativity, right? The more you nurture yourself, the more you're going to be in your creative energy. They really want you to only put yourself in environments, whether it's the physical environments, right? Being in nature, being around people who love you, being around people who don't mind pouring into you, right? Or whether it's your energetic environments, right? Being really deliberate about the music you listen to, being really deliberate about the food you intake, being really deliberate about the conversations you allow yourself to be a part of, right? They only want you to focus on the things that are going to help you nurture your creativity, because there is a project within you that needs to be birthed. And the better you treat yourself and the more you nurture your feminine, the easier it's going to be for you to birth this project. Okay? Now, this is where we get to the nitty gritty. The Virgo solar eclipse happening Sunday. The eclipse itself and the days and weeks after are really going to give you a lot of insights around the power of your words. The power of your words, and they're going to highlight areas in which you may speak limitation over yourself and how that needs to change. You're going to get some insight and wisdom about what it means for you to communicate much more authentically, right? One of the limitations or the challenges that's related to the naivete of the Page of Swords is that, again, they're the teacher's pet. So what do teachers' pets do? What do honor students do this a lot? This is what makes them honor students. They parrot, right? They repeat things that they hear other people say. They learn by rote, right? And so they tend to have a connect the dots way of doing things. But part of what the Page of Swords is learning is like, okay, it's not enough for me to say the things that I think are right because I'm trying to get the answer right. I have to learn what it looks like to come up with my own answers, right? It's the difference between learning through memorization and critical thinking, right? And so for you, it's really going to enliven your own personal thoughts and your own comfort with speaking from a place of your authentic intellect, as opposed to just saying the things that you have been taught are right, right? And I love that for you. It makes sense with all of these, now that I've gone through them, that the Knight of Swords came out. All of these downloads and revelations are going to put a passion in you that makes you really comfortable with making decisive action about your future and saying what you mean and meaning what you say and being deeply unapologetic about going after the things you want. And I love that for you. Absolutely love that for you. All right, Chantel. Chantel wants an eclipse reading. Unless there's someone else, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up after Chantel for the night. But let's see what comes up for Chantel. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom does Chantel need about the eclipse? What was moved for her during the lunar eclipse in Pisces? What do her spirits want her to focus on between now and the upcoming eclipse? What would be the nature of the revelations and downloads, breakthroughs she's experiencing during the solar eclipse in Virgo? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. If there's anyone else that I have not gotten to that is interested in a reading, go ahead and send your love offerings while I'm doing Chantel's reading. And if not, then I will, hold on, there's resistance in the deck for some reason. If not, then I will go ahead and wrap up after her. I love this. I love this. So the Pisces lunar eclipse made it really clear for you that you have to be comfortable with being a student of life, right? That's the thing about the Fool card. They're not a literal fool, they're a student of life. They are kind of wandering, not aimlessly though. They don't have concrete direction, and they're learning to be okay with not having concrete direction because they're allowing the experience of wandering through life, of exploration, to teach them things. It's an energy that is very much rooted in trust, right? Because you see, they look like they're about to walk off of a cliff. They may stumble, but they have a deep trust that there's a net, the net being their ancestors, the net being their spirit team that's going to catch them, right? So you are learning a lot about yourself, about the nature of the world, because you're on somewhat of a new journey. And the Pisces lunar eclipse was meant to highlight that for you and to help you be okay with that. Unfortunately, you have spent the time since that eclipse not being okay with that, right? It's like you feel like you should be further. You feel like you should have more answers. You've been doing a lot of ruminating on your past or on spilled cups instead of being grateful for what you know and what you have. So your spirits would really love to see you use your time between now and Sunday to stop doing that shit, because it's only going to make you depressed and it's only going to cause you to stagnate. And you absolutely do. Hey, Tashana, you absolutely do not deserve that. It's not helpful to you. Okay. So if you can really take your time, do your affirmations, really pause when you find yourself ruminating or thinking negatively. Pause and do whatever you need to do to switch the channel in the theater of your mind so that you're not hyperfixating on your spilled cups. Because taking that energy into the solar eclipse is not going to be helpful for you. And the reason why that's not going to be helpful for you is because a lot of what gets highlighted on Sunday and the days and maybe even the weeks afterwards are going to be about the areas of your life where you either have secret haters or people who don't fully understand how you're elevating in the moves you need to make. And if you spend all that time being distracted, trying to hold your ground and fight people while you're trying to elevate, that's only going to make your change and your transformation that much harder, right? Seven of Wands is a card of power, and it's a card, all the sevens are about reflection. And so the reflection that comes to you post solar eclipse in Virgo is very much about the people around you who don't fully understand you, and your choices to either waste your time going beneath you, fighting people who don't get you, or to elevate above and beyond them, right? One of my favorite representations of the Seven of Wands is in the Light Seers Tarot. I need to just go ahead and rebuy that deck. I think I lost it. I feel like it's in one of my boxes, but I can't find it. But it shows a woman in lotus position, and she's meditating. And she's literally meditating above all the wands that are trying to poke at her and knock her down. That is the energy that you need to be in. And this is why your spirits are saying, take these next days to pull yourself out of the rumination and the depression. Because if you enter into this Virgo solar eclipse from a place of regret, from a place of beating yourself up, it's only going to be that much easier for these people to confuse you. And low-key, baby, you don't have time for that. You really do not have time for that. Okay? All righty. Yes, definitely need to start back with my daily gratitude writing. Love that for you. I'm trying to get better about gratitude work as well. I'm not about to tell my business, but it's been highlighted for me through some downloads and through some conversations, and then the reading I got earlier today from a friend that my vibe is attracting things that are an opposite of the work that I'm doing, right? And that I need to work on my amount of ruminating and worrying. So you're not alone. You're not alone. Different cards, but I got a very similar message from the reading I received earlier. Alrighty. Well, if there's no one else that would like a reading, I am just going to go ahead and wrap up. So we talked about pick-mes in our gossip sesh. And I always say, you know, if we're going to talk about pop culture, we might as well relate it back to us, because there's no point in talking about these things if we can't learn from them. And what I hope is that you guys have learned that it doesn't serve you to be a pick-me. If you find yourself in positions where you are showing up like a pick-me, if you know that you have pick-me tendencies, really try to do whatever. I just talked about theater of the mind. You guys know that I'm a huge Maxwell Maltz fan. Psycho-Cybernetics, the book Psycho-Cybernetics changed my life, and it actually had a huge role in my spiritual journey. When we are aware of the thoughts that don't serve us, the perspectives that are actively working against us, and that are making us engage in behavior that's self-sabotaging, even if it's tough, we have to change what's playing in the theater of our mind so that we don't continue to have the same negative experiences over and over again. I promise you that if you are a pick-me or you have pick-me tendencies, you are lonely. You are not where you want to be in your career. And your love or romantic options are not panning out the way you want them to. Because pick-mes attract men who love to kick women's back in. And a pick-me is going to sacrifice. Pick-mes hate all women. They hate the feminine, even the feminine within them. Okay? And that's what I mean when I say that pick-me self-sabotage. So if you have pick-me tendencies, do what you need to do to change the narrative in the theater of your mind so that you can honor the feminine within you, and that way you can stop sabotaging or throwing the feminines around you under the bus. Because being a pick-me, it never works out the way that we want to believe it will. I've never met a pick-me that wasn't getting their back kicked in by men. Whether it was in the workplace, whether it was in their marriage, whether it was just in their family. Think about like a pick-me. I'm going to go there. Think about your worst relationship. For the women here who date men, or the men who date men, if you just date men, right? Think about the worst relationship you had in your life. Think about his mama. Think about that bitch. Think about his mama. Think about his sisters. Think about his aunties. Were they pick-me bitches who thought that he could do no wrong and that the sun rose and shined on his ass? Were they the type of women that always sat around and talked about other women and how other women dress and how other women ain't shit and how other women ain't good enough for their brother, their son, they whatever, their nephew? Pick-mes. Pick-mes are some of the worst people on the planet. And they not only are they always in relationship with men who kick other women's back in, they literally birth and raise men who kick other women's back in. And this is why we cannot be pick-mes. Pick-mes literally will replicate the patriarchy through their wombs, through the people that they raise, through the people that they align with in terms of career, through the people that they monetize and platform. Like Candace Owen, like Cardi B, like Jazzy Brown, like Jada Pinkett Smith. Okay? So if you know you have that spirit in you, go ahead and kill that bitch. We just talked about the Ten of Swords. I hope it ain't that far in my deck. I ain't about to keep looking for it forever. But we just talked about the Ten of Swords. The painful things in you that need to die so that you can go into a new chapter that is healthier. The part of you that is anti-feminine needs to die. The pick-me spirit in you needs to die so that you can go into a chapter that is healthier, so that you can have better relationships. It's not enough to care about feminism when women are pouring money into your pocket, Cardi B, Melissa Ford. It's not enough. You need to be comfortable enough with the feminine where you don't want to create environments where you are the only feminine in the room. Because then when you get taken advantage of, when you get betrayed, when you get mistreated, you don't have feminine support to mirror back to you what you need in order to be safe. So if you have a pick-me spirit, go ahead and let that die so that a new something can be rebirthed in you, a more aligned, healthy feminine. Okay? You just unlocked an answer to my inner child. Share, La Balin. I was about to get off, but I want to know what that means. Give me a little bit more detail. You know how I am. In terms of astrology, I'm a Chiron priestess. I'm a Chiron priestess and I'm a Saturn girl. So I'm all about inner child work. So let me know what that means for you, because it may help me in terms of having better framework and better language to work with my clients. If you feel comfortable, please share what you mean by that when you say that I unlocked an answer to your inner child work. Sanidra said, yep, damn bitch. I had that realization a couple of days ago when I was sitting in meditation and thinking about my relationship history. The person that I'm kind of seeing right now, they have their faults, most definitely. But you can tell that they were not raised by a woman that excused their bad behavior, right? And because they were not raised by a woman who excuses their bad behavior, the way that we argue is unlike a lot of what I've experienced in other relationships. He will allow me to kick his back in when he's wrong, as long as I don't get disrespectful, right? Whereas in other relationships, because the worst thing on the planet is a grown man who's never been told that they were wrong and who's never had to deal with the consequence. Because they will literally be in the process of setting your house on fire and telling you you wrong because you don't appreciate the free heat, right? They are the worst people on the planet. They are the ones that become narcissists. They're the ones that become literal physical and verbal abusers because they've never been told anything that's wrong. So my current person, literally the only time that he's ever buckled when I've critiqued him has been when my mouth has gotten out of order. And that happens easily. My Venus is in Gemini. I'm slick at the mouth. I'm trying to get better about that shit. I was neglected, classic middle child syndrome. Little me learned early that I was only noticed and valued when I sacrificed myself for everyone else around, ultimately teaching me to neglect myself. My pick-me is equivalent to serial people please. As a recovering people pleaser, I feel you. And I'm going to be real. The first time that I had my life coach call me a pick-me, that was what motivated me to kill the people pleaser within me. It took her calling me a pick-me and highlighting that people pleasing is a form of manipulation, right? Because when you're a people pleaser, you don't think that you're manipulating people, but you're people pleasing in order to keep the peace, right? In order to keep love on your side, in order to make sure that you have safety and protection. And anytime that you are doing anything in the effort to get a specific result, instead of showing up in your authenticity and being comfortable with whatever plays out, that is manipulation. So, girl, I get it. And I understand, right? And y'all just heard me kick pick-me's back in for an hour and a half. And then y'all heard me also admit that I used to engage in behaviors that were symptomatic of a pick-me. We live in a male-dominated society. We live in a world where most people are taught that their survival is rooted on, tiptoeing around masculinity. So even the most amazing of us can accidentally find ourselves engaging in that behavior. So it's not an issue about being ashamed once you realize you do it. The answer is to engage in better behavior so that you don't continue to replicate that, right? And that's where the Melissa Fords and the Cardi B's and the Candace Owenses and the Jada Pinkett Smiths fuck up. Because even when the behavior is highlighted for them, instead of moving differently, they double down on it. They continue it. Melissa Ford is way too old to still be having these experiences of being prideful of being the only girl in the room. At damn near 50, you should not be happy about that. That should not be a dynamic you seek out, right? Cardi B is a 30-year-old mother of, about to be mother of 4. You should not be comfortable with constantly being in situations where you are willing to sabotage your literal wealth just for the approval of a man. So these are all things we have to, once it's highlighted to us, we have to do the work of moving different. My mom put our adopted sister on a pedestal. She overparented and nurtured other people's kids. La Balin, you and I need to have a girl talk. You and I need to have a girl talk. It's eerie how similar our situations are. My mother did the exact same thing. And a huge part of what fueled me being an overachiever, the only reason why I was an A student was because I was trying to get my mama's love. And it never fucking mattered. None of it, she didn't give a damn. But my adopted sister, who was a perpetual fuck up, my mother put so much money and time and resources and tears into trying to get her to act right. And here I was, like, literally trying to figure out what new ways to stand on my head to get my mama to love me. Girl, you and I need to have a conversation, because it's eerie. It's eerie how, and that's one thing I've learned over the years. Like, your spiritual community will reflect a lot of your experiences, right? Your community and your tribe will reflect the same type of healing that you yourself need. So I'm surprised, but I'm also not surprised at the same time that we have such similar experiences. Now I'm afraid, girl, if you don't get out of my fucking head. Now I'm afraid of having kids. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna get off of here because La Balin came on. You've been surveilling me. You came on here trying to make me cry. And if it wasn't enough that Aja tried to make me cry with her reading earlier, here you go. Come here mirroring my experiences like this. It got me telling on myself through you. It's work. It's work. They call it spiritual work for a reason. It's labor. It's shadow work for a reason. It's labor. And I just want to, first of all, thank you for sharing that with me and with us. And I also want to commend you for putting the work in and for being able to acknowledge what you need to change and being dedicated to changing it. Because you would be surprised how many people will just, numb themselves and not do the things they need to do to change. And that's how we end up with women that are in their 50s and 60s, those mean bitches in the church that judge little girls and call them fast and shit because they don't want to change themselves. That stuff within them, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and go before La Balin make me cry. And I mean that you and I should talk soon. Because I'm always surprised with how much we share in terms of our similarities. But I love you all. Thank you. I didn't think I was going to be on here for an hour and 40 minutes tonight. I thought I was just going to hop on here for a quick little hour. But thank you for joining. Thank you to those of you who, supported with questions and involved yourself in the conversation. I will be back on Sunday, as I always am, to do the weekly energy reading. So make sure you join us. As you guys sit with your revelations around this eclipse, if you find that, you have shadows being triggered, don't be shy about booking a shadow work consultation. Again, those will be on sale until December 1st. Not December. Oh, let me stop lying. What comes after September? Lord, October 1st. They will be on sale until October 1st. I love you all. I will see you Sunday. You know where to find me if you need me. And until then, I want you all to take care. Bye.